Welcome to Living Chassidus. Together, let's live the Chassidus we learn.
Welcome, everybody. So, over the summer, we went through most of the chapters of Solid Foundations, 8 Torah Principles to Provide Clarity, Strength, and Emotional Well-Being by Raishal Mordechai Rabashkin. This is not published, although I'm definitely encouraging them to publish it because it is so good. This, as you can see, my copy is abyssally destroyed because I read it so often. Right now I'm on I don't know, I lost track of how many times I've read it. I also underlined and whatever because it's like a breath of fresh air. And now as I'm going through all this house buying stuff, I'm just reading it over and over. So the first one of my favorite parts. Mansion. Building the castle. It is a building. Yeah, it's definitely more a building than a house. Also I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to everyone who has joined our Founders Club. Baruch Hashem, we're going and growing and climbing, and the sooner we reach that goal, the sooner we can move forward with all the other steps of the house. So the building.
Is the promo video feeding into a video?
Yes, absolutely. We're also working on we worked on messages to send out. We worked on the promo video. We worked on a second promo video based on the speeches with the emotion. We also worked on a calling script. As is Hashem, we want to work on a call day, whatever it's called.
Maybe you could do a video. Oh, I did.
Yes.
Not very good. Not very good.
It's recorded. You all read it. It's recorded.
No. I did it a separate video. No,
Yeah.
not as good
Actually, was it the same thing?
It'll just be a different face in the video. Based off of it.
It's based off of it.
Oh,
Okay.
I was thinking
And
that's
then
what
the next investment will be the teleprompter. But then we are also working. It was a lot to build in 1 week. It was a lot to do. So now we're also working on building the team's concept. So we're gonna roll that out. But anyway, okay. So back to this. We have step 1 that we discussed was the fact that we have to connect to our neshamas primarily. We live in a world that is gashmius and it's in front of us, but when we live, which connects a lot with the Limit Chassidus concept, when we have our Hashem glasses and we really see the world from Hashem's perspective, then there's a lot more clarity, there's a lot more calm, ease of mind. You have a compass in this wild whirlwind of craziness that this world is. That was step number 1, chapter number 1. Chapter number 2, Emuna. Emuna is this concept that Hashem is always with us. Hashem, whether it makes sense, whether it adds up in our intellect or not, Hashem is there creating the world and taking care of us. And not only that, but He is the most loving and well-meaning, well-intended person, well-intended Hashem ever. So therefore, it's really, really, really important for us to keep that at the forefront, because if not, it's oh, Hashem's punishing me, He's out to get me, or we feel sometimes I'm alone in this experience, I'm alone in the world, or sometimes we feel this is bad for me, something is horrible is happening. Emuna reminds us that every single thing that happens is actually a good thing. The example that Rabbi Rabashkin gave is that he, throughout all of his battles to try to reach freedom, every single time there was a step of bad news, bad news, bad news. He kept saying, this isn't bad news, this must be the greatest news. I just don't understand it yet. And when we have a munah, when we have a reminder that the Eibishter is carrying us and holding our hand, and even though something feels really yucky and uncomfortable, and I'll be honest, yesterday I had a miserable day. Last night, it was just horrible. And I just had to remind myself, this feels so yuck. but it must be for the greater good. I'm getting to the greater good, but today was better. So I'm like, okay, the greater good is coming. That's a very short version of Emuna, but you should definitely read it and catch up if you hadn't read it before. That's Emuna. Emuna is knowing that Hashem is taking care of us. Emuna is knowing that every single thing that happened is for the good, and He loves us, and it's good. Emuna is faith, and it's just knowing I'm here. Hashem's taking it. Whether it matches here and it matches here, Hashem is taking care of us. That. Bitachon is saying, I trust you for the future. Now I trust you that you're going to take care of me. I trust you that you're going to hold my hand through everything that's happening forward. And Bitachon comes from this idea that based, in a certain sense, based on the Emuna, knowing that everything Hashem does is for the good, I don't need to stress. Just like another mashal that I got from a different book on Bitachon is, picture like a toddler and his parent is holding him, whether it's a he or she, a mother or father. And at that point in time, the toddler is being held and the parent is crossing the street. At no point in time does the toddler think, oh, 1 second, is that a car coming? Oh, wait, is this a red light? Is it, as I tell my kids, is it the walking menchie or the red hand? You know, like, the toddler doesn't care. He's just like, I'm in safe hands. Like, all he thinks about is the warm embrace of their parent. That is Bitachon. Now, once the toddler starts to grow up, like, for example, my kids that came to help set up tonight, they're walking home on their own. And when they walk home on their own, they also have different levels of maturity. So as a parent, we have to remind them, remember to only walk with the walking menchie, not the red hand, you know, like all the different pieces. The more we take responsibility and we take the stress of our lives, the more Hashem says, okay, you want to take it? Go for it. But if you want to be the toddler that's being held by Hashem, you have to constantly remind yourself, I'm the toddler that's being held by Hashem and He's taking good care of me. Doesn't mean that you shouldn't make a keli. The stress comes when we feel like we have control over the outcome. What we need to do is create the keli, the opening for blessing. What we then let Hashem take care of, and where trust comes in is when we say, you take care of the outcome. So for example, Sunday's event, I said, all I have to do is show up and do my part. Whatever happens next is up to Hashem. We have to show up and do our part. Whatever happens at the end, I can't come and think, in 15 years, in 5 months, even by the end of the night. If by the end of the night something changes in this shir and it goes haywire, I did what I could, I did my best, and the outcome is only up to Hashem. Make sense? That's Bitachon. Now, scooching forward, Kavana Sabriya means the concept that Hashem created this world, and because He created this world, it means that we have a mission to improve it, both our lives and the world as a whole. And because of that, when we're going through struggles, it's not a flaw to the system, it's made as part of the system. This isn't a mistake that we go through struggles. I always joke that if a toddler never fell and scraped their knees, then they wouldn't be able to get up and walk and run and then grow up to be mature adults that don't bump into everything, right? When we bump into something, it makes us better and stronger and more resilient. So here, for example, and I'm being very personal, I hope you guys don't mind, but like, for example, I am having to learn some of the questions that the stuff with real estate that I'm having to learn right now is way above and beyond my pay grade. Today I was even discussing with another real estate agent that works in New York, not in New York City, but like in New York State. And even he said to me, and he took courses, classes, and works in this business. He's like, whoa, this is beyond my pay grade. And that's what I'm having to learn. So it's hard, it's tough, it's intense, but I just keep appreciating, like, okay, I guess Hashem, you're just giving me a free lesson in real estate purchasing. Like, I didn't have to pay the whatever university fees. I'm just living through it. So whatever you're going through, just take it in that mindset of Hashem, this is not a mistake. I understand it's not a mistake. You're just teaching me new lessons. You're giving me new skills. You're teaching me a new way of appreciating the world or processing the world or whatever. Make sense? Woo! Chapter 5, Torah has all the answers. The world and us and everything was created through the Torah. So therefore, Torah has all the answers, and when we look at the world through the Torah perspective, aka the Living Chassidus motto of Hashem glasses, then we have clarity moving forward in what we're meant to do, how we're meant to accomplish all of this, and we don't have a question about morality, as the world really strongly has right now. For example, I recently saw this comment about someone saying, "Oh, if you're gonna take away my food stamps, then I'm gonna go steal." There's ups and downs. Like it's just like everything. The world is upside down if we don't have morality based on an objective Torah that gives us the right and the wrong, up, down, left, and right. Make sense? Baruch Hashem. Chapter 6 is the concept of mitzvahs and to be able to connect to Hashem and interact with Hashem, and the more we focus on our mitzvahs, the more we're able to sensitize ourselves to Hashem's world and desensitize ourselves from other influences. There's a lot more to it, but I'm just running out of time. Okay, so now we've reached chapter 7. Everybody ready, Freddy and Spaghetti? Yay. If you'd like to catch up on all the previous classes, they're all on YouTube and / or all of the other platforms. So yes, and a big shout out to Rachel for all her hard work to make that happen.
Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you. Yes, she gets a shout out for that. Okay, chapter 7. I will read for the sake of, yes, because it's so short, we can do it. Okay, chapter 7. Teshuvah. Even when we stumble, our essence remains pure and we can always return.
Well, you just went from talking in 2 speed to like 0.5.
I'll take a deep breath. Let me drink. Okay. Just as a mitzvah. No, don't do that. One second, I need the thumb. Okay. Just as a mitzvah connects us to Hashem, an avera separates us from Him, Rahman al-Atzlan. When we reflect on our behavior and identify averas, our Yetzer Hara tries to compound the problem and push us further away from Hashem by insisting that we are damaged, disconnected, and we're not worthy of Hashem's mercy and love. If we're facing a difficulty or a challenge, our Yetzer Hara points to that as evidence, trying to drive us to despair and depression. And I see this uptown, downtown, all around the town. Literally, there's the avera that happens, and then there's the yucky feeling and the post-avera yuck that then leads us to whether it's a tub of ice cream or a, whatever is that outcome. That's what we're trying to catch here. In those moments, we need to remember that we can always do tshuva. Even before we take the steps to do tshuva, Hashem does not abandon us. He desires and awaits our teshuva. When we turn to Him sincerely and seek forgiveness, drawing closer to Him, He accepts our tshuva and embraces us as if we had never sinned. Now, I hope everybody gets to go through this in their own lives, but you can see this very clearly in marriage, where we mess up, we stick our foot in our mouths, we make a nasty comment or whatever, and as long as we are humble enough to apologize and take responsibility and say, yeah, I'm so sorry, I did not mean to hurt you, the closeness that happens in the relationship after is bein arich. There's nothing like it. There's nothing like being able to apologize, receive that forgiveness, and reunite in a much, much stronger way. And you might have even seen that with family members or with a good friend. Like that type of good friendship that you're willing to really make that apology and you're like, yes, I'll be honest and real and raw and apologize in that way. The closeness afterwards is really powerful. Accurately translated, teshuva means return. It is rooted in the fact that the fundamental nature of a yid is good and holy. If he has deviated from that, all he needs to do is return to his natural state of love and connection with Hashem. When we do tshuva, resolving never to repeat the avera, Hashem accepts it. It's that simple. So certain are we that Hashem forgives us when we ask, that in Shemana Esrei, immediately following our request for forgiveness, we recite, Baruch Ata Hashem, Chanun Hamarbe Lislayach. Blessed are you, Hashem, who is gracious and forgives abundantly. You cannot, there we go. Saying Hashem's name in vain is forbidden. Whenever there is a doubt about whether we should say a bracha, we abstain. Certainly then, there is no doubt that Hashem has forgiven us and this bracha is warranted. So let's take a moment to actually process that. Many of us look at Hashem with our human perspective. So for example, comes a good friend, slaps us in the face, and says, Aish, I'm so sorry, I did not mean to do that. A few days later, she comes again, gives you a big hug, slaps you in the face. Oh, I'm so sorry, I'm not going to do that again. Next time I'm going to hold back. The third time, you see her a few days later, and you're like, It's like, I'll hug you from, distance, I don't know. And we have this feeling of like, I've made the same boo-boo, I've made the same mistake. For anybody who was there for the shir with Rabbi Glick, that concept of like, we're retaking on the same achlata over and over and over. And for every time we didn't keep it, we think, Hashem's just going to lose faith in me. Like, I keep trying and I keep failing, so therefore he's going to think, okay, it's done. But in reality, that's not how Hashem works. And the fact that we make this bracha every single day, 3 times a day, it means it's for real. He really, even if chas v'shalom le'aleinu, we slap him in the face time and time again, he's still there waiting for us saying, I'm willing to, let's try it again. You want to try it again? I'm here for you. Does that make sense? And this concept is the most beautiful part because it prevents that spiraling downward of, I'm already bad, I did bad.
Teshuva is like poison. It's like chemo. If you need chemo, but you only want it to target the bad cells. You don't want to be taking it forever and have it spread to everything else. Teshuva, you need to focus it on what needs to be done, and then once it's done, that's it. You don't sit in it. You don't do it all the time again and again. Like you did your teshuva, Hashem forgave you, and now you have to be simcha. Like you have to move on, be simcha. You're not wallowing in it. Like it's.
I love that concept. That is beautiful. Thank you for sharing. Another version that I heard from Shais Taub, Rabbi Shais Taub, is that we have 3 faculties, right? Thought, speech, and action. Now, let's say chas v'shalom, we slapped the person in the face. Now, when we go home and we're all regretful, we're using the other levush of thought to constantly replay the thing we did wrong. Like we're just do. Now we're also wasting our thought on an avera. So just do your teshuva, say, oops, shouldn't have done that. Genuine, wholesome, and honest apology. I'm going to try my best not to do that again. And let it go. Because if you're spending more time thinking about it, that means you're using a machshava for that avera again. Make sense? I love that. Okay.
Was it ever discussed about taking, what if you have to take a step back in something that might be like an avera, and that for the time being, that's where you're at?
We discussed it in the previous class when you asked a similar question. You're all good. The short version on that is that Hashem didn't create us perfect. He doesn't have this expectation of an absolute perfection. He has an expectation of you giving the best you can of your abilities wherever you're up to at this point. So for example, a balas tshuva, which in essence is all of us. But if someone is losing herself I recently heard this story. Somebody, a bacher, realized at one point, he's like, I came to frumkeit because my relationship with Hashem was so real, and so therefore I wanted to connect with Him. But the more frum I become, the more I lose my relationship with Hashem because now it's so boxed. That's a point where you reach out to Mashpia and you say, whoa, how can I make, what do I need for my health right now? My spiritual health. Because losing your relationship with Hashem just because you're too stuck or boxed or whatever by the structure, that requires a specific derech. And figuring out that path. So knowing that Hashem doesn't expect perfection, He expects us to try our best and give what we can at that point in time, whatever that means, and having that personal relationship with a mashpia that can help guide you where it fits here and where it fits there. That's the end. That's the short version. Chazal say there is nothing that stands in the way of teshuvah. No matter what we've done, the power of teshuvah should dispel any feelings of hopelessness or despair. Any feelings that suggest Hashem's kindness and mercy are out of reach. So, another piece that I learned about this, which is really beautiful, in Robert Kremnizer's Purple book, rocking book. He speaks about this concept of when we say, "Oh, I'll do this avera because I get to do tshuva." And then Chazal explained that once you do that, Hashem makes it very hard. It's you're cheating the system. That's not how it works. He says, even then, Hashem is still lovingly waiting for you to. Yes, will it be harder to do tshuva? Yes, but He's still lovingly waiting. Like, what's the saying? Bated breath, right? He's just waiting. Like, is she gonna come back? She can do it. She can do it. Like, let's.
You're cheating yourself when you do. You're doing yourself a disservice.
Correct. But what I'm saying is that even though you're not meant to do that, He's still waiting lovingly for you to come back. And that is very special. Okay, any questions on this chapter? I know tshuva is a huge topic in general, but any questions? Not so far? Okay. Chapter 8, page 25. Simcha is not only critical, it's a mitzvah. Finally, a word on the importance of simcha. Joy is critical to our success in all endeavors. Even with the clarity and strength to prevail, it's our energy and enthusiasm rooted in simcha that propel us forward. Depression and how do you say that? Lethargy spell certain failure, no matter how strong we may be. Now, everyone has felt this. We've all been through this, where sometimes you wake up in the morning and you have this like zest, like you're like, I'm excited for whatever. I know, for example, if I'm excited for an upcoming trip, I like wake up and I'm like, woo, let's go, let's get the party started. And then there's days where you're like, and getting out of bed feels like you have like 1,000-pound rocks all over. You're just like, no. The difference between simcha and the opposite can change everything else. It's not that simcha is not even just a thing for itself. It's a thing because it affects every other aspect of your being. The way you speak, the way you sleep, the way you wake up, the way you eat, I don't want to do a raise of hands, but like we all know that when we're going through a rough time, we eat garbage or we don't eat. Sometimes we forget to eat a meal because we're just like, right? But when we're besimcha, that's it, I'm gonna go, I'm gonna tackle the world, let's go. So the concept of simcha is not just a thing in of itself. It literally feeds every single other aspect of your life. Okay. Simcha is not just a good idea. It's a mitzvah. The Torah tells us to serve Hashem with joy. But what does that mean? Joy is something that you feel, not something you do. How can you command someone to feel joy? More importantly, how do you go about fulfilling that commandment, particularly if you are facing difficulty in life? We need to recognize that our feelings don't just happen to us. They flow from our perspectives, which means that we're not powerless in the face of a feeling. If we realize that a feeling we have is not appropriate to the situation, or that we're not experiencing a feeling that we know we should be, we can always do something about it. First, we can examine our perspectives. When we fully understand and appreciate the fundamentals we've discussed here, the sublime nature of our neshama, the presence and love of Hashem that we experience through Emuna and Bitachon, the privilege of fulfilling the purpose of creation by serving Hashem, our hearts will fill with joy and enthusiasm. Studying the Torah sources on these topics and discussing them with a Rav or a good friend will help us internalize these ideas to the point that our emotions react appropriately. P.S. A good time, if you're ever feeling lost, confused, there's like this haze in the world, take a moment and reach out, preferably to a good friend or a mashpia or someone that is like a living Chassidus mindset type of person, and say, this is how I'm feeling and this is how I'm perceiving the situation. What would be the Hashem glasses perspective on this? Sometimes this process of changing our perspective is too hard to do on our own. Many times we need an outside opinion, I guess, to look in and say, shine some light on some things that when we understand it, like for example, many of us don't realize, but many of us might have not such a positive perspective on what happens when we make a mistake, or so therefore we beat ourselves up and and we don't even realize that we're saying that in our heads. Sometimes we carry these like internal voices of, oh, I've done this wrong, and I always mess this up. Sometimes it's even funny to hear, even for myself, like I hear myself saying, I'm like, whoa, that is not the Hashem perspective on this. Like, I need to catch that before I keep because whenever I say it from here, it's because it's already been saying over here, right? In my head, it's already been going. So if you're ever feeling that you're not in a place of simcha, it's a good time to reach out to someone and say, can you help me think through this with my Hashem glasses on? What is the Hashem perspective? What's the Torah perspective on this? Hashem's not out to destroy you. Sometimes we feel that way. Hashem's not out to punish you. Sometimes we feel that way. You're not in essence. I know sometimes, many years ago, I had this like, oh my gosh, every time I make a mistake, like, oh, see, like that Freudian perspective of like at the essence, we're just animalistic. And then I had to learn a lot of my marm and discuss it with my husband and my mashpia and whatever, and just remind myself, one second, the Rebbe's answer to Freud on that was he didn't keep digging. Yes, is there an animalistic part of us? Yes, we all have a nefesh bahamis. But he didn't keep digging because beyond that is the nefesh elikis, and we are pure and holy and pristine. So sometimes that perspective, again, if we're not feeling the simcha, it might be because we're not seeing the world from Hashem's perspective, and we need to reach out and say, hey, can someone please help me look through this from a different viewpoint? Make sense? Okay. It's also possible, and actually pretty common, that our apathy is not because we don't understand or appreciate the gift of life and the opportunity to serve Hashem. That is to say, it's not a problem in our minds or perspectives. The problem is that our hearts have become desensitized. Engaging with the world for its own sake, when the interaction is not part of a mitzvah or avodas Hashem, diminishes our spiritual sensitivity, and overindulgence in physical enjoyment intensifies that effect. We must take stock and recognize that these behaviors are deadening our heart and soul to the indescribable joy we naturally take in our Creator. Remember that since Hashem instructs you to serve Him with joy and to serve Him in all that you do, you are unquestionably capable of lifting the cloud of apathy and melancholy with the infinite strength of your neshama and living your life with joy. L'chaim. Good perspective. Sometimes it's not our mind. Sometimes it's the fact that that's an older version. Oh, yeah. Sometimes it's not necessarily our mind. Sometimes it's the fact that we are so entrenched, I guess, in the world around us that that's just the only way we see it. We're just desensitized to the Torah perspective on the matter.
Like you're saying, someone could have been taught it, but still, like, it's not that they don't know. It's that the world has desensitized their perspective on their
Correct.
point of view.
Correct. Like for example, the concept of making a parnasa, right? The world around us is constantly saying you have to get this type of thing, this type of job, this type of education, this type of, and once you do your part, you're going to have a guaranteed success. Like it's kind of like A plus B equals C. If you do these things, you're going to be successful. Which doing those things is good. Just a reminder that doing those things is making the keli. Hashem is the one that benches us with success. And that's a very nuanced piece. You're still doing the same thing. Let's say you have to get an education in order to do the path that Hashem created for you. Number one, you're not choosing that. Hashem gave you a mission, and therefore you're meant to be a lawyer, an accountant, a masseuse, and you have to do those things, and that's good. You're doing the same action. It's just your perspective on where does my success come from? Does it come from my actions, or does it come from Hashem filling the bracha? Does that make sense?
So the world focuses more on the packaging than the gift.
Huh. I hadn't thought about it that way. I feel like the world thinks that just because you get the package, you're automatically going to get the gift. And the Torah perspective is.
Never been such a function.
That's so sad. It's just such a disappointment. I hate those. Box of tissues. That's such a bummer. But what we're saying is the Hashem perspective on this is you need to make the packaging. Whether Hashem fulfills the gift, that's up to Hashem.
Right.
And that part means we should also keep part of the packaging, not the Gashmias packaging, but also the Ruchnias packaging.
Are we also saying we're trusting that it will be filled?
Yes.
Okay, so we have to
Yes,
create,
correct.
the packaging is representing the keli. You have to build a keli in order for Hashem's brachas to come in.
Correct. And that's the way. That's the
That's the
system
mindset
he
we gotta
created. Yes, and that's because
Right.
it's the system he created. Hashem wants you to get
The
whatever.
world kind of distorts that.
Correct.
It doesn't focus on that.
Correct.
It's like, oh, if you like add an extra ribbon and this decoration, that decoration, it's guaranteed you're gonna get the gift. And then
Correct.
people get scammed because, like, then let's say they do all of that and it's like, oh, it's empty inside. There's no
Right.
gift.
Which is wild because you can see that a lot in the like pop culture celebrities that like they do all the thing and then afterwards, I mean, I kind of call it the
Empty culture.
I kind of call it the Robin Williams like thing. Like everybody thought he was the happiest man alive. Hi. Thanks for hosting us.
Right, and he was suffering from depression.
And he was and then he committed
Yeah.
suicide.
Right,
Like,
right,
whoa,
right.
the most successful, happiest, funniest. Like,
Yeah.
he took so many people out of depression just through his humor and his being. And that's when we have to remind ourselves, just because the world says XYZ, what is the Hashem perspective? What's the Hashem glasses? Which, for everybody who's been to all three of your classes, you can remember Hashem glasses. What is Hashem's perspective in this piece of my life? And that can like release you from all of the struggles. Yes. Any other questions, comments?
I have a nice story to share.
Yeah, go for it.
So, at the building campaign event
Yay!
on Sunday or
Sunday.
Sunday night, I made like a joke to somebody. I'm like, "Oh, I'm gonna have to get a job so that I can have my suit to give." I just had my first day of work today.
Oh my gosh! Adina!
I didn't apply to any jobs. I didn't have to do an interview. I just have a job.
Oh my gosh!
That is hysterical.
What?
Adina, wow, that's
Actually,
amazing.
what do you do now? What is your job?
My job is being a dietitian for pregnant and postpartum people.
That's incredible.
Beautiful. Wow.
That's great.
Oh
See,
my
your job paid
gosh.
off. Exactly.
Power
Power of words.
Perfect.
Power of words.
And also, look at that. The bracha of tzedakah pays quickly. That is so beautiful. Thank you for sharing. Whoa. Okay, Hashem, give you a lot of hatzlacha.
Amen.
Thanks for sharing. Any other? Yeah.
I'm thinking, I think you can know the Hashem perspective of a situation and still and also know the Sahara perspective and still know the Hashem perspective.
Yeah. Meaning you can still struggle. Let me see if I understand correctly. Like you intellectually know the Hashem perspective, and you quote unquote emotionally or intellectually know the Yetzer Hara perspective, and you could still struggle. Just because you know it doesn't mean that it's going to necessarily like magically solve the thing, right? Am I, honey? I hear you. I hear you. That was me last night. Like full on tears, sitting on my couch, being like, I know that Hashem perspective, but this still is really hard. You know, like I hear you, and that's part of the Avodah. That the more we work through it, and especially the more we strengthen it, even when its times are good. Not just like assume like, okay, when I get to that struggle, you know, jump over it. But like when times are good, reminding ourselves like, okay, this is Hashem, seeing Hashem's hashgacha pratis, and like feeding that then can give us also the strength for like when it's harder. But yes, you want to share something? I'd love to hear.
Can I add that?
Oh, yeah. Hashem, the aspect of like, no, even if we know the Hashem perspective of things, like Emuna, Bitachon, all these concepts, that like sometimes it's still hard, and like, how can we bring those thoughts even when it's hard? That's what we're discussing. And I said, I hear you. Yeah.
If the like, I think part of the help in that is that the Hashem perspective shouldn't feel like a hammer on your head, pushing you to like have to accept it this second. But it's still not the Hashem perspective. And if it's such a burden to accept it that way or to accept it at this moment, then it's like the Hashem perspective might be, it's okay that it's hard. And you'll get there, but it doesn't have to be right now.
Oof, I like that. As we were saying earlier, Hashem doesn't expect perfection. He just wants us to be trying and doing the process. So I think that definitely, it's a process. It's not like we can just magically snap our fingers and like, oh, I'm happy. You know, like it's a process.
Can I add something? Jump on to what you were just saying. So I don't know if this is going to work for everybody, but for myself, I was going through a difficult time, and I was realizing like I was getting really down. It's in a very low moment, as you were talking about, and I realized that, you know, me being low, is it helping me like in my avodas Hashem? Is it helping me in the struggle? Is it helping me in this challenge that Hashem has given me at the moment? And I decided that even though I was going through a really low moment, that like it's a choice to choose to be happy, even if like you don't want to be happy, but like the alternative isn't helping either. So I was like, okay, so like I really made like a conscious decision to like really focus and have a good positive perspective, even if it like, let's say like, okay, like lahavdil, like the world is falling apart around you, but like, okay, you know what? I was able to get out of bed. I was able to walk out the door. I was able to see the sun, like little things, and just making that choice, and then like it builds momentum and helps you get through the low parts. It's a choice. It's not, so yeah, it's not easy, and sometimes you're gonna mess up and make a mistake, and you're gonna get negative and down or get depressed on whatever's going on in your life. But just to make that choice of like, wait a minute, I told myself I would be happy. Okay, wait a second, let's reframe how we look at this so we can look at it more positive perspective. So that helps someone out.
That's beautiful.
Still thinking about what you mentioned before. I guess like it was funny. You mentioned how it is a thing to think that it'll always get better. Like that we will see the good. It happens to be, I think a few days ago, I was thinking like, are we really supposed to think that? Like some people didn't get a good ending. I don't know. We see in history, like not everyone, like our history is not that great. And there are people who, you know, were killed or things like that. But I guess like I'm asking and also hearing at the same time, like we are supposed to always have that optimism of like, no, like it really can get better.
According to the concept of Bitachon, yes.
Not that it can.
Exactly. Now, then this is the balance according to, again, from here, from Shar Bitachon, from Robert Kremnizer's Purple Book. I'm not making it up. I'm like, the balance between Emuna and Bitachon is the moment we get a slap, Chas v'shalom le'aleinu, we say, okay, that didn't feel great, but Hashem, you must have something great in store for me because I know you're not an evil, you're not out to get me, you're not out to hurt me. You have good intentions for me, so this must be good. For example, if you go on, like, I think it's called Living L'Chaim, their YouTube channel, like, the amount of stories that the hostages are saying of how they found Hashem in the deepest, the worst, in the making kiddush, like, these people are not even from, most of them. Like, it's wild. So yes, sometimes the worst of the worst, and we were davening for them as if and they were being tortured. But I think it was Omer Shem Tov, which is wild. There's like a clip of him farbranging essentially in a sukkah. I don't think he was even wearing a yarmulke. And he's just like talking. He's like, the one thing I miss the most is how real my conversations were with Hashem down there. He's like, he said, I miss it. Like, you know, mind blowing. So whatever happened, whatever just happened must be good. Even if it doesn't feel good and even if this was really rough, there must be some good because Hashem wouldn't do anything to hurt me. That's Emuna. Now moving forward, Hashem, I am that toddler in your arms and I trust you. You're going to take care of me and not slap me again. And if it's meant to be a slap, that's not what I'm thinking about right now. You're going to take care of me. You're going to make it work out for the good. And the more, and this is what Shar Bitachon says very clearly, the more you invest in him and trusting that Hashem will take care of it for the good, and that's not simple, that's not easy. We're constantly having these negative thoughts of like, oh, what if? The more we work through that in of itself is an avodah that makes the keli for the bracha to be good in a palatable, sweet good. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I guess like, yeah. I guess I was thinking, like, I do believe that, but I guess it's like, but are we allowed to? Like, I don't know, like, yeah, no, I guess it's just crazy because we do still live in Gullus. So I guess it's things that are like piping up. It's like, but.
Right.
But, really?
And knowing that that's
the. Are you really being realistic? Like.
Realistic. Whenever I hear realistic, that's, I mean, within reason, but like when I feel like it's like a realistic thing, it's like sometimes that's usually a red flag for me. I'm like, okay, is this a Yetzer Hara realistic or this is a different realistic, you know? Yeah.
It's hard for me, the concept that what you said, you have to know it's going to be good. Knowing it's going to be good is what makes it good. So it's like a catch-22 because you have to trust that Hashem's going to make it good in order for it to be good. And if you don't trust that it's going to be good, then it won't be good.
But then what are you trusting?
And then it's like, I don't know, I'm struggling with that idea.
I think the biggest Yetzer Hara for a lot of people is when they start trying this is that the concept of trach good v'tzai good, and it's like, oh, if I thought bad, so I was the one that brought bad onto myself. That's a tough one.
For me, it's not so much that way. It's more the other way. That like the Rebbe says in that Sicha of Trach v'tzai good that it's our avodah of believing that causes it to be good. So then, if your avodah is not perfect, then you don't.
That makes a keli. That makes a keli. It doesn't cause it to be good.
No.
Meaning just.
No, it's the avodah itself that makes it into good.
That makes a keli for Hashem to make it good. Now, that's on the Bitachon when you move forward. If it didn't work out for the good, that's what I'm saying. If it didn't work out for the good, let's say I had this trachim v'tzango that this specific thing was going to work out. Now, once, let's say we reached that point and it didn't work out as expected, it's not a point of like, my avodah must have not been good. Now we rely on our Emuna and we say, okay, Hashem, I understand that you are loving and you care for me, and you care for me more than anyone else in the whole wide world, and you have my best interest at heart, and so therefore I believe that this must have been some good. It doesn't feel good and it feels dark, but there must be some good to this that I'm going to appreciate at some point, or maybe I don't have the knowledge to appreciate, but I know that this is for the good.
It is good.
Yes. Yeah, it is good. This is good.
I think I've also heard the concept in someone like explicitly saying out that the opposite, like, and if you didn't, then it did cause it. Like, yeah. I don't. I heard someone once.
Yeah.
And
I haven't seen that in Shar Bitachon, or have I seen it here, or in the Purple Book, or in the. I don't think that doesn't sound. Yes, I second that comment.
Sometimes the source, but sometimes.
I was gonna say sometimes we get shocked, but
Really have strong
Right, like meaning there was,
then
there was a lack in
And
it.
it wouldn't
there was a lack in it.
Yeah, actually, that lashon is.
Maybe the lashon like that, maybe it wasn't as like you did something wrong.
oh, I was gonna say maybe like.
Maybe that person said it that way, but yeah.
And then it goes back to chapter 7, which we just learned, which is the concept of teshuva. It's still good, which is chapter 2, I think, of Emuna, but chapter 7 is the concept of teshuva. Okay, so I didn't make the keli to the fullest extent to receive this particular bracha, but it doesn't mean that I'm going to go down the depressing, so therefore I'm not good. You see, I didn't have enough of Emuna and Bitachon, blah, 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 Like, that also doesn't lead to any. That leads to the pint of ice cream and the YouTube watching till 3 a.m. Yes. I've only said it twice, okay? I only said it twice. Yeah, but that concept. It's a constant balance between what happened in the past, relying on our emunah, saying, Hashem, you must, because you love me, and I know you love me, and you create, and you always do everything that's best for me. Sometimes it feels really sucky, but I must be something good in this. That's how we process what happened. We're not expecting Hashem to slap us in the face again. Now, Bitachon, moving forward, I trust in you, and I'm going to make the keli for all the brachas through trusting in you. And that gives us brachas.
Thank you.
My pleasure. And Hashem should bench us to have only revealed good and sweetness. We just did Tishrei, so we put in all the investments, and now we get to cash out all the brachas that we're earning for the year, and being besimcha, catching those Yitzhahara thoughts, asking for help, reaching out. Sometimes I can say this, if you don't mind me saying it, but last night when I was really struggling, I felt like I was all alone, and that's when I realized I have this thing. I'm like, whenever I feel all alone, I need to reach out, and I actually called Adel. So thank you, Adel, for catching me in that moment. I don't think I've ever cried with you on the phone before, but I was just like, woo! And once that happened, it broke the darkness. I'm like, okay, there's a step forward. There's something to do. I'm very much about what's my one next step. As I joked with people, what? No, I haven't yet, I guess. Last comment, I know Mindy's leaving, but the elephant, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So I'm very much about, I don't have to think about the elephant, I just need to think about what's my one next bite. So l'chaim, we should all have brachas and revealed good and clarity and really, 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 really sweet and goodness. And let's just end this gullus and live this new geula. Chaim. It was my pleasure.